Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. Thank you very much for the messages, the Streamline community and the public. Thank you very much indeed for your replies. So Little Miss Madhead, how you doing? She says, I want to know who they were gonna get the cola off that morning when Jay had no money. Who else was dealing then? There must have been another dealer. Find them. Yes, but Ayob had said that he was moving with Rocky, but I don't think it was. I do think this Jonathan Atanda is a basically someone who works for Ayob. That's what I think, and I think questions should be asked there too. And then she goes on to say, oh my God, that's why Lucy opened the GoFundMe so no one would use Jay's bank, maybe. Yeah, that is correct. Or maybe to obviously quieten obviously the people involved in Jay's disappearance not to come out and maybe say a little bit more. That's why I think a lot of money was raised very, very quickly. I think it was for peace and quiet and to cover themselves as well, because it could have come out of their own pocket, but they didn't want that, and that's one of the reasons why I think they took Jay. Little Miss Madder goes on to say, a police helper worldwide. I do think he tries to come across as helping people, but like I said, it's not in the way that we think. But like I said, I think he comes across as that he did nothing to Jay, which he probably didn't, but he definitely knows who took him. What about all the others who was convicted? Why just target Jay and not the others? More to this. Well, there was two others that have died that attacked or were there when Tom Hilton got attacked. There's two others that have died, which have been mentioned by many sleuths out there. And then she goes on to say, lie detector, the lot, which is the Chronicles, who's made some brilliant points. I didn't actually see his videos, to be honest with you, but like I said, some of them, I'll put another one up tomorrow, but some of them really, really make sense. Little Miss Madder goes on to say, they make him sound like a gangster. F's the lad dead. Have some empathy, mister. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They should, and I do think that a lot of the people talking about the case, I think, are getting peed off because a lot doesn't seem to be happening recently. Awfully's got some good stuff, Marvin. I will watch that. Thank you very much. The 4 pings too. Saber Rattling Jock, how you doing? So supposedly the mother was wanting desperately searched, but due to her having young child and searchers often getting injured because of terrain. Yeah, I did hear this. She was advised not to, but I'm now wondering about the stepfather, who I believe to have nothing to do with it. He has been refused any contact with his younger child, and the social services don't usually do it without good reason. One of them definitely knows something, and I just pray that maybe a family member has removed them from a bad home situation, whether it's violence or SA or drugs, etc., before they do come to harm, and although a crime was the only option to possibly ensure their safety. Because how many do we hear of children losing their lives because social workers haven't acted soon enough and weren't aware of the dangerous environment the kids are being subjected to? I'll also bet you the kids weren't off school due to sickness and had missed many days because their parents couldn't be bothered or slept in due to the reported parties. I hope they are safe. If they got into the vehicle, it must have been a familiar face, and the timing seems perfect, as though it was planned. The chance of the kids choosing that time to out of the blue decide to run away, and a paedophile just happening to be driving past the site at the same time seems pretty unlikely. Yeah, I agree. I do think their mum and stepfather know a little bit more than what we're letting on, and I think the police probably know a little bit more as well. People have said that there's a possibility that they think that the police are thinking that they're looking for children unalive, which is very, very sad. But thank you, Jock. We'll just have to see what happens, what actually comes out. After Dark, Coffee and Crime, only people who need answers in his parents. We, the public, are owed. MWC strung everyone along with rubbish shot straight through him. His doc is money making, trying to keep relevant. He can't find anything. Yeah, very, very true. He's out there cashing it in, flying around in private jets. Something big's happening out there, and Duncan was right. It's why they've all gone quiet, because I think this documentary is taking a lot of their time up now, and they want it out as soon as possible. It's because they think that once we've heard it, we'll stop talking about the case. Pinky Pup, how you doing? C has previously posted photos of himself with vast amount of money and flying on a private jet. I also found it strange he appears to use any of his resources to support with his walking around the mountains alone. It would surprise me this documentary is something self-funded, as Vanity Project seems completely hypocritical after the horrible things C said about how this discussing the case with good intentions. I feel there was no doubt be more heroes being labelled in the power taking documentary. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Pinky Pup, at the end of the day, you know, because he seems to think everyone was blaming him, basically Chris, for not believing in his narrative or storyline. Mark, how you doing? I've never known a case where the family are more concerned with pocketing money from the GoFundMe, and now a documentary than getting the truth and justice for their teenage son's death. It is so sad. I think, Mark, you've made some good points. I have replied to that. Where's the fight? That's what I've said. And maybe they've got all their answers at the end of the day, and they know, obviously, Jay's not coming back, and there may be too much of the underworld that they're afraid it will all unravel again, and they'll get more threats if they discuss this case anymore. I do think, I'm not too sure about Warren. We haven't heard from him for a little while, but I think Debbie wants this, I think, after the documentary, wants this case closed and not to talk about it. This is my thoughts, people, because it just seems to be going that way. Let me know what you think. Lindsay goes on to say, as I said before, Marvin, the locals seen no birds of prey, nor seen a recovery, which to me is weird. As Duncan said, after 29 days, there would be nothing left of Jay, is now questioning those whole narratives. Though I agree with you too that other avenues never looked at. I believe the Maruba had played a big part, as it looked like Jay sitting and Ayub was plain to see by the boat, plus things like the photo near the steps of the boat. I think you all, Ali, pointed out, nearly a year on and still new stuff coming out. MWT should retire. He has been involved with so many cases of messed up. First, he says 100% foul play. Now he changes it to an accident. The accident crew have got to him by either being paid or threatened. In my opinion, only and allegedly. MWT should also tell us why he changed his mind. But in an interview, he was lying and couldn't look the guy in the eyes, and also his body language was totally off, allegedly, in my opinion. I agree with you. I think with the Maruba should have been talked about a hell of a lot, because, like I said, people talking about the Maruba were closed down instantly. They didn't like us talking about the Maruba. MWT, I felt he felt very uncomfortable, and he didn't want to go into a deep dive into the Jay Slater case, and that really puzzled me and worried me that he'd also given up on the case as well. Thanks to Marvin for covering both cases, the Jay and the kids that's gone missing. Thank you very much, Lindsay, for your support. Appreciate you. Anita, every one of them are liars, and karma will come back to get them. Yeah, if they're not arrested for this case, people, I'm sure they will be arrested in the future for something else, and we will be right behind that case. Mike Jakes, how you doing? There might have been rugs in the boxes that they were moving from the Airbnb, and the blanket with blood on, and other incriminating evidence. That's a really good point, Mike. Yeah, I agree. It could be the narco house. Leog, MI, thank you. That the police don't care about their messages is beyond me. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of really deep, meaningful messages from people who I think had some real accuracy in what they were saying. I do think the early stuff was the best stuff, people. I really do. Tina Gooner Girl 7129, she says Warren and Jay had a birthmark. Warren said Jay had a birthmark on his leg, excuse me. He should have asked Poe to take a photo of the leg, seeing as Debbie Zach wasn't allowed to positively ID him at all. Seriously, do not think Jay was in coffin, and Lucy lying from the start about Jay going alone to Masca with two fellas she didn't know. But when back to her hotel early from NRG, her police statement, she states she was in Masca staying with Jay but couldn't find him. So what we supposed to believe? Her interviews to news, back to the camera, or her police statement released? Good question. Think this is all a hoax? PSYOP, especially with MWT lying his nasty ass off. Oh God, it's just... he's really put himself in at MWT, hasn't he? That did make me laugh. All for a documentary. Him and Isla both dealing and fed narratives in Nicola Bully case too. Anything those two are involved reporting on, I don't believe none of it. Always documentary after full of lies. Both dogs. Don't forget their industry is entertainment business. Yeah, very, 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 very true. And it is crazy how Isla sided with what the accident crew and witnesses had to say without even questioning them. That was crazy and crazily odd. And I've seen news reporters in Masca just thinking that Jay didn't go down here. They were reading something they didn't believe. Tina Girl goes on to say, Gooner Girl, I thought from seeing that body wash up in Morocco day after Jay went missing, and same as description, young Englishman, dark hair, blah, 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 it was Jay, and that coffin sealed shut with no one allowed to open it upon arrival in UK, not buying UK currently either, but Jay weighed at least 10 stone. I feel that coffin was a shipment of rugs instead. Nothing any big gangster wouldn't think of doing instead of the usual mule importing. It's well worth the risk. Warren, he has any doubt, exhumed that coffin because only the corrupt police made order was them identifying so-called body as Jay. No formal identification, which so many people has mentioned. Just say so. Jay wouldn't have had any fingerprints left, and footage of the helicopter retrieving Jay was old footage. Very true, from a few years ago. Marvin, can you show funeral again? Just of Brad and others carrying the coffin in the church. See if any of those lads look like they're actually carrying a dead weight, body plus weight of the coffin, because it all looks too easy. IMO, empty coffin. That's a good point. I didn't think, but that's the first time I've actually heard that. But let me tell you something, a lot of things are possible these days, people. They really are. That's a really, really good point. I will play that video again, that clips of it, so people can see what they think. Thank you very much. Lindsay goes on to say the whole case is fishy. These are about the two missing children, Lily and Jack. The whole case is fishy. If they were away with a backpack, how would you even think about a bag? There's lies on one part. Either the stepdad of the mum knows, or the mum knows more. Also, if the granny and the stepdad's brother live in a trailer in the garden, wouldn't they have heard or nor seen anything? Praying the wee kids are safe and well, and we pets. If my two kids were missing, I wouldn't move. So interviews and would need sedated. I would be in an awful state, though wouldn't leave a 6 and 4 year old with autism alone and sleep. The house and kids seem very unorganised, and probably the kids are hearing a lot of arguments and really have an awful life. Very true. Allegedly, in my opinion, only. Yeah, well said, Lindsay. You've made some really, really good points there with respect to that. Also, the state Jay was in there. No way, whoever the boss was, say Lucy or Ayup, would not give Jay rugs to sell in that state. When you're selling, you stay completely drink and rug free. You there to make money, nor not get off your head. Sorry for all the comments, but I'm just replying to each part as I go. Lindsay then goes to say, also he had cut his leg in pool party so that either he could have been worse for wear and the whole commotion could have been another night. Sure, they would have seen his cut to the narrative above the B&B characters could all be false, IMO and allegedly. Yeah, I believe that was about, because Lucy's saying that he'd cut himself on a cactus, and I think he was cut before that. Like the eyewitness reckons he was tabbed outside the club and possibly again on the beach where I think he was attacked. And I think it was Awful Vid who's got a video out, so go and see that, people. Rumours are spreading what happened to Jay Slater at the beach. Yeah, it's all coming back round again, people, but we must keep talking about it. We can't let this case slip, people, or give up. We're not going to do that. Brad knows, all and Rachel, this is Lindsay. Brad knows, all and Rachel IMO and have from day one. I now believe Debbie and Warren know, all to hence no inquests or inquiries, nor truth searching, allegedly, and IMO, which they would just say Jay was released, is safe as well, and use the GoFundMe and move to a safer location. Case closed, and no more dig into greater searching the truth, all allegedly, and IMO. The whole world would be lighted and glad he is safe, and no questions asked. Case closed. Well, we're just waiting for a few more reports on Jay from the coroner, and I think that could be it. If sometimes, Goonagall made a great point. Tina, she said there's no point in chasing it if sometimes we're not getting the same fight from friends and family. To be honest with you, that's an excellent point, because like I said, we're talking about it, but we're not getting the help that we were, a few months ago. At the end of the day, it just seems to me that things are dying a little. I'll still talk about the case, but because I do think that the Jay Slater case, there's a lot that I think went wrong, and I do think he was killed. I don't think it was an accident, and I've always thought that. But like I said, the fight from the family, maybe they're waiting for some final results to come through. I don't know, or we're going to hear everything from the documentary. But I just think once these documentaries are out, I think it's a stamp to say this case is over, and that the narrative that Jay had fallen, and that's going to be basically a stamp on these videos. I really do think that. Unless something seriously happens, unless someone's got some serious information that they put out there to counteract that. Marvin, that picture where he was worse for wear could be a different day. The image I seen, he looked very like Jay on the boat, in my opinion. And allegedly, I seen Abe clearly too. I did too. I think they wanted 30,000, but didn't expect the case to travel worldwide so quickly. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why they got the body back, because I just think if it was just we didn't know what we do now at the end of the day, I think we may have found Jay maybe a lot earlier, but in a worse way. Because like I said, I think the cover-up, it had to say that he fell to save the island's blushes and the police and the government there. And WT is a liar, in my opinion, and he needs to stop his documentary and walk away. Biased and lies. Now he has changed his mind by either paid off or threatened or changed the narrative, IMO allegedly. Yeah, it's weird. That was really weird. I felt really let down, to be honest with you. I think he's wiped his hands with the case, and I don't think he really wanted to talk about it because he felt really nervous, and a lot of streamliners have said that. I personally believe Jay is safe and well. Why not just say Jay's released alive and safe and case closed? The world will be over the moon and no questions asked. Case closed. Move away, no questions asked. Take the GoFundMe and start over again, away from enemies. Very, very true. That's a really good point, Lindsay. Very, very good point. Kate Wells, why did they throw their good friend Jay under the bus by claiming and implying he stole a watch? They were Jay's enemies, hiding in plain sight. Yeah, definitely hiding in sheep's clothing as well. And like I said, Lucy, very, very unreliable witness, and I didn't believe anything she says. And when she said that she deleted the evidence off her phone about her and Jay's conversations. That tells you a lot where she stands in this case and where we stand, that we're not going to get to know the truth. This was 1 million foul play. That's why if he isn't alive, which now a lot of us are thinking the same, that Jay wasn't in that coffin, I think Warren has stopped because he knows Jay's alive, allegedly, and IMO. Interesting. I don't think Jay's alive, to be honest with you. That's my view. I do think that he was killed. I do really think that, and I just don't think he's alive. But I do think money talks in this case for people to be quiet, including those close to him. Jay was only there to make money to pay off debt back home, I think, allegedly. And yeah, I've always said that. I'm only catching up now, Marvin. Thanks, Lindsay, for your support. Ian goes on to say, why would that be shown? It's promoting a cover story. Yeah. That's so sad. Caroline Ellison on the bizarre disappearance of Amy Fitzpatrick. Please, people, look into that case. There's just so much going on. I'm having to sort of break it down, but it's on my second channel, Streamline Investigations. I've put a second video up today, so please have a look at it. It's really interesting stuff. So we've caught up with all the messages. Lindsay, brilliant. Ian, Caroline, thank you very much. Karen, the FYO1, thank you. Lindsay, thank you for all your messages. Appreciate you. Just find a few other names. Tina Goonagirl, excellent. Messages there. MI, thank you very much. Mike Jakes, thank you for your support. Anita, Lindsay again, thank you. Yeah, Mark, Warren, Pinky Pup, brilliant messages. Thank you for support. After Dark, Coffee and Crime. Do go and subscribe to her. She has a brilliant channel on TikTok, Little Miss Mad Ed, and YouTube. Thank you very much, Streamliners. Appreciate you all. There's a lot more coming and a lot more videos that I want to sort of go back over, especially from the Chronicles. That he's made some brilliant points which will have you thinking, and points that I haven't heard for a while are not at all. Do subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and follow the channel. Once again, brilliant people. Thank you, Streamliners and the public.